ACC on ESPN. A great environment as always here at Cameron Indoor Stadium. Duke and Carolina meeting again in college basketball's best rivalry. And we are all hoping that tonight's game matches the excitement from last month's game in Chapel Hill. Got the miss. Jones, can he get a shot off? Yes!
Duke Carolina delivers again.
A miss, a tap. Jones, tipped, yes! This is an ESPN Sonic blockbuster. Senior night here at Cameron Indoor Stadium for round 2 between North Carolina and Duke. What more do you need to say? What more do you need to hear? Roy Williams, Mike Krzyzewski, the regular season finale between these two iconic programs. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Durham. Dan Shulman, Jay Billis. So excited you're along with us for this game tonight. Fast forward a month from last month's game, and Duke, although they're coming off a win over NC State, they've still lost 3 of their last 5. Carolina, meanwhile, Jay, playing their best basketball of the season right now.
They've been the hard luck heels all year long. Injuries, losing in one-possession games, but the last 3 games, North Carolina has been the North Carolina we expected from the beginning of the season. Scoring 90 points a game over the last 3, shooting over 50%, over 41% from three-point range. And Garrison Brooks and Cole Anthony have really led the way, averaging 51 points between the two over the last 3.
Give us a player on each side to keep an eye on tonight.
Well, you start with Tre Jones for Duke. He's been their leader all season long and a prime candidate for ACC Player of the Year because he plays at both ends of the floor. He was magnificent in the second half and in the overtime in Chapel Hill. The first player with 28 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds since Michael Jordan did it in this rivalry in 1983. And for North Carolina, Cole Anthony has been absolutely spectacular over his last 3 games. 24 points, 6 assists per game. He's been 12 of 20 from three-point range over that period. And in the last 2 games, 11 of 16 from 3. If he continues to make good decisions and take care of the ball and get North Carolina out in transition, the Heels are going to have a good opportunity in this building.
For more on tonight's rematch here in Durham, here's Holly Rowe.
Well, Coach Mike Krzyzewski told us yesterday he knows this is a very different version of the North Carolina team. They're playing with more continuity and consistency. Some of the things he wants to see them do better from the last matchup is defending in transition. He said, my goodness, I think I got windburn. They had so many fast break points in the last meeting with 16, so they've got to be better there. And also rebounding. Out-rebounded 51 to 42 in that last matchup. He knows that they have got to be a better version of themselves to match what North Carolina is doing now.
They do, Holly, because the Heels are healthier than they've been most of the season. Not healthy, but healthier. And they are more confident, you would think, as well, at this point of the season. The last time an unranked Carolina team came to Durham and to beat Duke was 1990. Mike Eads, Roger Ayers, Bert Smith, and away we go here. The tip of our Sonic blockbuster here at Cameron Indoor Stadium, and Tre Jones and Duke with the opening possession.
North Carolina starting off in man-to-man. Cole Anthony going head-to-head against Tre Jones.
And this being senior night, as Jones draws the foul, you can see all 3 seniors for Mike Krzyzewski in the starting lineup. Jack White, Javin DeLaurier, and Justin Robinson, who has played big minutes 2 of the last 3 games, and Jay has played extremely well.
Well, Justin Robinson has given Duke a really big lift against both Wake Forest and NC State, and he is such a high basketball IQ player.
And, of course, the Robinson family, including the Hall of Famer, the Admiral David Robinson, in attendance here for his son's senior night. If you're Roy Williams, not what you wanted to see. Cole Anthony picking up a foul 16 seconds into the game. The starting lineup for the Tar Heels. Armando Bacot was a game-time decision. A twisted ankle, suffered a few days ago, but he is in there as a starter tonight. Anthony dribbles into trouble, and here comes Duke.
One of the ways you stop transition is with your offense. Your offense has to help your defense. And Cole Anthony has been taking very good care of the ball of late, but turned it over by taking it into traffic.
Yeah, his last 2 games, 14 assists to just 3 turnovers. Both of those games wins for the Tar Heels.
Good fake by Justin Robinson.
Jones short on the 3. Good rebound by Bacot.
North Carolina needs to go inside and get the ball to Garrison Brooks. He's got a matchup right now in Justin Robinson that he's stronger than Robinson. Robinson is a little bit taller, a little bit longer.
Yeah, again, with the senior starting, that means Vernon Carey is not starting for Duke tonight. Bacot with a jump hook.
That's where North Carolina's advantage is in this game, to the extent you want to call it an advantage. They are very good inside. When they get the ball in the paint, that puts Duke in a position to foul. And the shots are shorter, gives the big guys a better opportunity to rebound.
Robinson not shy from beyond the arc. He has shot the ball extremely well in the last 2 games in which he's appeared.
Another matchup to watch is Brandon Robinson on Cassius Stanley. Robinson didn't play in the first matchup on February 8th in Chapel Hill. He was injured.
Robinson banks home a 3. Now Cole Anthony, Jay, is yelling out a play. Is there any chance that his teammates can hear what he just said?
What?
Anthony using the screen from Brooks. Brooks has been sensational in recent games. Doesn't get the bounce on the jumper, and it's back to Duke.
Well, Justin Robinson is a very good shooter. And off the screen roll, the shake action coming up from the corner. I don't think he planned to bank that in, but it doesn't say whether it was banked in or went straight in the box score.
Delorier, and it is blocked but counted. It'll be a goaltending call, and the bucket will count.
Duke is doing a very good job of spreading the floor. And that leaves the middle open. And the seniors, Jack White, Justin Robinson coming out of the ballgame, Javin Delorier.
And they'll all likely come back in. This is not the typical situation maybe where a guy who rarely plays happens to be a senior. They've all been playing, of course, but now you bring in Matthew Hurt, Jordan Goldwire, and Vernon Carey for the Blue Devils.
Carey guarding Armando Bacot. That leaves Matthew Hurt on Garrison Brooks. And Brooks far more physical.
Robinson got the switch, has Hurt on him. Hurt barely played in the first game. Only 6 minutes. As Robinson knocks down a long jumper over him to bring the Heels back within 3.
That's his 52nd three-point field goal made on the season for Brandon Robinson. He is the leader for this North Carolina team.
Goldwire getting around Leaky Black. Nice find to Jones. And what a start for the Blue Devils at the offensive end. Anthony coast to coast with the left-handed lay-in.
Boy, what a terrific job of attacking.
And Stanley flushes it down with 2 hands.
And a terrific answer. Well, usually that's the kind of thing that North Carolina's transition game would net. But Duke very opportunistic after the made field goal.
Can they get Brooks down in the post against Hurt? Try to exploit that matchup.
Well, he's got to call for the ball.
Double team on Anthony, the kick to Black. Black for 3. Boy, Leaky Black, not a great outside shooter. Just 26% from beyond the arc on the season, but he buried it.
But it's a shot he's got to take, because that way you have to come out and guard him. That's going to open up some things inside for the Carolina big guys.
Hurt, step back 3. And Bacot down with another rebound.
And Duke really not going after the offensive board so they could get back in transition. Good pass.
Here's a touch for Brooks. And he gets it to go. Carolina's weathered an early storm to get back within 1.
North Carolina's always going to play inside out. And anytime that Garrison Brooks can touch the ball down in the low post, I think that's a good thing for North Carolina to play through Brooks in the post.
Brooks averaging 27 a game his last 3 games. And again, not coincidentally, those are all wins for the Heels. Carey stripped. Numbers for the Heels. Anthony gives it up. Gets it back. And misses the three. Carey down with the board.
Remember, Vernon Carey had 18 points in the first half in Chapel Hill.
And Goldwire called for the offensive foul. What a start. What pace here in the early going with Duke leading Carolina by 1. 5 minutes and change in. Tre Jones, so good in the first game between these two, has come out playing well again here in game 2. Garrison Brooks, as hot as anybody in the ACC, knocks down a jumper for the Heels. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented. Take a look at tonight's Sonic Blockbuster. As every fan of college basketball knows, it's been a tough year for North Carolina. A ton of injuries. The last time they had a losing record was way back in 2001-02. The last time they finished last in the ACC was, well, never. And the conference came into existence back in 1953-54, and so many heartbreaking defeats. The only other time they had 6 losses of 3 points or fewer, 1940-41. It just heartbreaking with all the overtime losses and close defeats. But listen to Cole Anthony. They're feeling better about themselves right now.
That was a different team. I wouldn't want to say this. This is the scariest bottom seed you've ever seen. We hungry. I mean, we're playing. I think the way we're playing, at the level we're playing at right now, we're a top 10 team in the country easily. I mean, college basketball is having a little bit of a weird year. Just not that many great teams. I think at this point we're turning into a great team.
Vernon Carey with a jam to make it a 3-point game. So Carolina, Jay, has beaten NC State, Syracuse, and Wake in their last 3 games, and they've averaged 90 points per game doing it. Now, you've got to admire the confidence or optimism by Cole Anthony saying top 10 team. I don't know if they're that, but they're clearly better than they were earlier in the season.
They're a much tougher out than they were earlier. And you remember how well this team played against Duke earlier on the season. Armando Bacot getting away with a little push there and turns the ball over. But right now, Duke's pressure is rattling North Carolina a little bit. Out of that last timeout, Duke came a little 1-2-2 3-quarter court pressure, forced a turnover. Justin Robinson with a great read of the play to jump in front of Garrison Brooks and try to take it the other way. But right now, it's been the Duke pressure that is limiting North Carolina.
Goldwire, the extra pass to Robinson for another 3.
Duke is moving the ball. And as a result, North Carolina is having to scramble, rotate, and the closeouts have been long.
Great feed from Anthony to Brooks, but he can't finish. And Robinson down with a rebound, and another long pass. Jones to Carey, and a foul.
With Vernon Carey doing a spectacular job of running the floor. Was able to defend against Garrison Brooks using his chest and then running down the floor, and Armando Bacot with his hands on him. But Justin Robinson, because of the penetration, the pass to Goldwire, and then not just the extra pass, but the right pass to get it to a waiting Justin Robinson. That's really good basketball by Duke.
And with more on Robinson, here's Holly Rowe.
Well, Justin Robinson has had limited minutes all season long, but Mike Krzyzewski told us yesterday that he has earned these minutes that he is playing right now. He said he's a sneaky athlete. He's one of the best guys on our team. He is the ultimate friend, and he has earned the time he is getting. I saw him just moments before the game go to every single player on the floor and whisper some words of encouragement. He is the guy that is keeping this team united and together, and he is doing it by his play on the court and his demeanor off the court.
Holly, thank you. Yeah, and if you haven't seen Duke in a while, there has been a change in recent games. Minutes for guys like Javon DeLaurier, Jack White, Matthew Hurt, they are down. Robinson is getting a lot of those minutes as Brandon Robinson knocks one down for Carolina. Robinson missing a number of games, 9 games with injury earlier this season. Cole Anthony missed 11. This is only the 11th game out of 31 for the Heels this year where they've had Anthony, Robinson, and Brooks all in the lineup at the same time.
You know, it's key players they've been missing, and Brandon Robinson, one of those key players. But in his last ball game against Wake Forest, he really played well with 18 points. He made 5 threes, and he's off to a good start shooting the deep ball in this game. When he gets his feet set, you know, he can make shots. But the other guy that's done a really good job for North Carolina of late has been Christian Keeling, who's come into the ball game. He has exploded offensively and is really starting to knock down especially mid-range shots.
Number 55 in the blue, the grad transfer from Charleston Southern. Jones gets away from the pressure, and Duke into the front court with a 5-point lead.
5 on the clock.
Jones knows it. Pull up at the elbow. Battle for the board, won by Delorier.
North Carolina right there for the rebound, but they didn't block out. They jumped for it. And Javin DeLaurier just jumped better and higher.
Boy, what a spin move there by Brooks, and DeLaurier has to commit the foul.
You know, it's one thing to be there on the glass. It's another thing to lay your body on someone and keep an opponent from having an opportunity to get an offensive rebound. That time, Javin DeLaurier just out battling North Carolina. Like, that's 3-on-1. And DeLaurier came out the victor.
All right, question for you, Jay. Garrison Brooks, who has just had a sensational season, especially recently. Carolina's going to finish at or near the bottom of the ACC, but hasn't this guy had a first-team all-league kind of season?
I don't think there's any question. And if North Carolina was, you know, middle of the pack or above, I think he'd be first-team all-ACC without question. But then you have to ask, well, who are you going to bump out of there? You know, Jordan Nwora, Trey Jones, Vernon Carey, Devin Vassell, I think are on the first team. But then you give it to Mamadi Diakite, the 5th spot, John Mooney. Garrison Brooks makes a great case.
Yep. 11:59 to go. Duke leading by 5. The best of 94 feet coming your way right after this timeout.
How do they pick that? It's all the best.
It's a long feature.
Of 94 feet, brought to you by Smile Direct Club, and it's all the best.
How about the biggest fear that you have?
Oof, it's either being on a plane or stuck in the middle of the ocean on a cruise. I hate the bumps. I hate the bumps on the plane.
Turbulence?
Yes. I
Keep your seatbelt on the whole time?
the whole time.
And you're white knuckling with the
hands with whoever's next to me.
All right, this 94 feet, you know how many meters that is? Not really. 28.67. I thought the French were smarter than that. It's really disappointing.
favorite breakfast cereal?
Fruit Loops.
Now, your girlfriend, Leah Edmond, is one of the most decorated volleyball players in history. What's it like? Who's the better athlete first? All right, you should have said her. And she told me to ask you this. How long does it take you to dust off all the trophies?
Your first celebrity crush?
Scarlett Johansson. Pretty good.
Favorite sport outside of basketball?
Soccer.
Favorite soccer team?
Arsenal.
Now, Ochai Agbaji says he's the better soccer player than you. Is that true?
No, that's not correct.
I'm told you were the mascot in a game. How'd you become the mascot?
One game. I was a mascot for one game. You know, once you're a mascot for one game, you're always a mascot, right?
Who needs to be told twice? Matt. If you couldn't play basketball, what sport?
Football. I say baseball.
What position are you playing baseball? Outfield. Get every ball. Coming over the fence. All right, what's the toughest thing about playing with Cassius Winston?
Getting in to play defense.
What's the toughest thing about playing with him?
Catching the ball.
That's where I'm at. 94 feet. He messes up your assist.
Big guys and little guys not getting along. So what else is new? Great to see Obi Toppin on there, Player of the Year candidate. And great scene at Dayton this morning for game day.
It was a fantastic scene at Dayton. And Dayton is obviously an outstanding basketball team. But what a basketball culture that Anthony Grant has there with the Flyer program. Just fantastic.
Javin DeLaurier just picked up his second foul. He's gone to the bench. Robinson misses a 3. And Carolina, better than 9 minutes into the game, down by 3 on the road here in Durham.
For the most part, Duke hasn't allowed much transition for North Carolina. And North Carolina's had difficulty running half-court offense because of Duke's pressure, pushing him further out on the floor. And I think Cole Anthony is going to have to be more proactive, not only getting the ball inside, but putting the ball on the deck.
Carey off the foot of Anthony, out of bounds. Still Duke ball. Tomorrow, it's our NBA Sunday Showcase on ABC as the Lakers take on the Clippers. Our coverage tips with NBA Countdown at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. A lot of people saying that could be a Western Conference Final, and what a matchup that would be between LeBron and his buddies and Kawhi and his buddies. Cassius Stanley a little bit short. Back come the heels again. Anthony ahead to Keeling. Needs some help and needs it quickly. Can't find it in time as he calls a timeout. We're back in 30. Duke by 3 here at Cameron. we'll have the Tuesday games, then on to ESPN and ESPN2 from Wednesday on. We're going to set the bracket for you out of the next timeout to tell you who's where and what Duke and Carolina are playing for in this game tonight, other than the fact that it's Duke and Carolina. They're always playing for a lot when these two get together. Brooks spins into a double team, turnaround fadeaway, no. Bacot is having an outstanding night around the rim at both ends, and he gets back in time to contest Carey.
Boy, Duke really testing North Carolina in transition even after a made field goal. What a block by Robinson.
Boy, what a sequence, up and down and back again the last minute or so.
Bacot picking up what looks like another foul. A terrific job taking the ball to the basket, and Justin Robinson blocking that shot. I think Armando Bacot picked up a foul with a push in the back.
He did. That's his second, and that's going to bring him out of the game, it looks like. Justin Pierce, the grad transfer from William and Mary, comes into the game. That is a loss for Carolina, given Bacot's rebounding ability and the way he can run the floor.
And his ability to block shots, protect the rim. But Bacot averages close to 3 offensive rebounds per game. And taking that offensive rebounding capability off the floor limits North Carolina's offensive output.
Stanley with Andrew Platek on him. And Stanley knocks down the jumper. That's going to be a tough matchup for Andrew Platek.
And Cassius Stanley knew it, just took that matchup on, went one-on-one, got a little bit of a clear out. Good help by Jack White on a drive by Cole Anthony.
Platek at times starting this year, playing big minutes when the injuries were at their worst. Playing a smaller role now. Pierce looked like he had a putback opportunity and instead passed it off. And Jones will bury a 3 at the other end.
Trey Jones makes a great case for ACC Player of the Year. He does it at both ends of the floor, and especially defensively does it at the highest level.
Carey will get consideration. Jordan Nwora will get consideration, but I'm with you. I think it's Jones. Knocks it away.
Okay, Andrew Platek has to be ready to shoot when he catches the ball in the corner. He had a wide open shot that he passed up.
Brooks will lay it in. Pretty feed from Cole Anthony.
Great feed and a terrific job by Garrison Brooks of rolling to the basket. Jordan Goldwire went to try to block or bother that shot. He's probably better off trying to take a charge there.
They're going to Stanley again, and it pays off again.
Just a pretty backdoor cut. Went out to the right wing and immediately turned back. Will step and go to the rim.
And right now for Carolina, Bacot's not in the game, Keeling's not in the game, Leaky Black's not in the game, and they're a little bit compromised. Cole Anthony doing it himself, knocks it down and gets him back within 4.
Well, he just made something out of nothing. Carolina trying to run of their box sets with a little diagonal up screen. They're either going to get a double away or screen for the screener action, but they never really got into it. And that forced Cole Anthony to just dribble the possession out and get his own shot.
Jordan Carey was looking for a touch in the post, doesn't get it. They try to go over the top to Stanley. Good double team, and it's Carolina ball. Good help by Brandon Robinson.
Trying to post up Cassius Stanley down low, and Andrew Platek doing a nice job of fighting him. But Cassius Stanley going up against Platek. Watch him out on the right wing. He's going to step out and immediately go backdoor. They eliminate help with 5 out, and Vernon Carey up near the top of the key. Not enough pressure on the ball, and Trey Jones delivers it beautifully.
Aerial coverage is brought to you tonight by State Farm. Talk to a State Farm agent today. Champ Week is upon us. ACC tournament begins Tuesday in Greensboro. Here is the bracket if Duke wins tonight. The top 4, in fact the top 10, are locked in right now with Duke as the 4 because of the Virginia win earlier tonight. All that will change with the Carolina win, Jay, is the bottom 4 who are going to play on Tuesday.
Yeah, all those 4 play on Tuesday. Just a question of the opponent that North Carolina would have based on a win or a loss. If they were to lose, they would get Virginia Tech.
Four-point game. Duke leading Carolina. 7 minutes to go in the first half. Robinson hesitates, leaves it a little short. Offensive rebound, Brooks up through a double team.
Boy, that is a man's rebound. He got that over the top of Delorier. Duke throwing down the court and passing ahead. after every score, Duke has been in the starting blocks and sprinting to the other end. And Tre Jones is passing that ball ahead and really putting great pressure on North Carolina's transition defense. Right now, North Carolina, I don't want to say they're jogging back, but they're not sprinting back.
Play take the foul. I'm sorry, Jay.
Well, Duke taking advantage of that. The big guys are not sprinting back.
Let's go down to Holly.
Well, guys, you might notice a change in Garrison Brooks. He's wearing these protective glasses. That actually came about. Remember, he got poked in the eye at the end of the first Duke-North Carolina matchup. Another poke in the eye, and he's gone to the athletic trainer, Doug Halverson, to get more protection. He's been wearing these the last few games. That gives him more, he just feels more comfortable around the basket. His hands are right where he might be getting poked frequently.
And they're obviously not bugging him. He has been a star this year, and especially recently for the Heels, who can tie or take the lead right here.
For the last 3 games, Garrison Brooks is averaging 27 points, 10 rebounds, and shooting over 60% from the field.
Boy, looked like a turnover and a run out for Duke. Instead, it's a layup for Bacot. Back into the game with 2 fouls, and Carolina's tied it.
And give Bacot credit because he is going after it with those 2 fouls, not hesitating at all. Boy, a lot of contact up top. There has been contact on ball handlers in this game, but you just have to play through it.
Jones gets around Anthony. Swatted away by Leaky Black. Here comes Carolina.
Good job by Duke to get back in transition.
Black. And then Black called for the foul.
Leaky Black was fading away on that shot instead of going straight up. He didn't have to fade away. He chose to.
Well, you know, when these two programs get together, that whatever building you're in, great players from that program's past are going to be here to watch it. And tonight is no exception. Grant Hill, one of the best there ever was. Christian Laettner are among the headliners and former Duke stars at Cameron here tonight.
Christian Laettner, one of the most decorated players in college basketball history. And I think Grant Hill is the best player Duke's ever produced.
Wendell Moore. Tipped up, no good. Offensive rebound by Moore. Double team on Carey. Good pass. And Robinson fouled by Brooks.
Boy, did Vernon Carey draw a crowd. He was triple teamed. And out of the right corner, Justin Robinson making a very intelligent cut to the basket. I mean, that's 3 guys around him. Somebody has to be open, and that somebody was Justin Robinson. He was alert enough to make a cut along the baseline right to the bucket.
You know, until about 2 weeks ago, Justin Robinson was the 11th man in what was basically a 10-man rotation for Duke. But as we mentioned, things have changed. Other guys, Delorier, Hurt, White, not getting as many minutes lately, and Robinson is playing big minutes at important times now for the Blue Devils.
And even though he wasn't playing a ton of minutes, you know, he's a captain on this team and has really done an exemplary job of mentoring the younger players. You know, a lot of times it's harder to get leadership from players that aren't playing as much. Usually you expect or need your leadership from the guys that are playing more minutes, but Robinson is a leader without having played a lot of minutes. That's unusual.
He's got future coach written all over him, don't you think?
A future commissioner, future president, future anything he wants.
Black misses the 3. Hustle rebound by Moore. Got Jones with him.
What a pass.
Bounce pass in transition to make it a 3-point game.
Duke's fast break game, whether it's off a make or a miss, has put a ton of pressure on North Carolina's defense.
Wide open 17-footer Brooks. No. Robinson the rebound.
Brooks was wide open. I don't know that Carolina wants to be settling for jumpers.
Good ball movement. Robinson to Jones, misses the 3. And down with the rebound is Anthony, who had 11 rebounds in the first matchup between these two teams.
One of the best guard rebounders in the country.
Good no-look pass. Wide open, Leaky Black. Toe on the line as he misses the long jumper.
Duke leaving Black open so they can help out on the better offensive players. And Leaky Black is very versatile. He can score, but he's not a big-time scorer.
Carey with a runner. And it's a 5-point game.
Well, Justin Robinson doing a nice job of clearing that right elbow that gave Carey the space, and Carey just attacked that space.
Bacot had it, but lost it to Jones. Shovel pass to Moore, who's fouled. And Duke on a run here to take us to the under 4 media timeout. Crazy's getting louder by the minute here at Cameron. They love this feed from Moore to Jones as the Blue Devils try to sweep the regular season series from Carolina. Vernon Carey doing his part. Blue Devils up by 5. Coming up on the Jeep halftime report, Reese Davis, Seth Greenberg, LaFonso Ellis on the first half of this game. Congrats to the Florida State Seminoles, the ACC regular season champions, and the latest on the bubble watch as well. Holly Rowe is with Seth and the Fonz.
You're a great mind reader because I know that's what Seth wanted to talk about. Florida State doing a great job in the ACC.
Incredible job that Leonard Hamill's done with his team and Tony Bennett. Think about this. They lost 4 of 6 in the month of January, Virginia. And think how the way they finished. Those two coaches, incredible jobs with their teams.
All right, and LaFonso, you want to get to this game. What has stood out to you that Duke's doing well?
Trey Jones has done a great job of managing the game, and Justin Robinson has given them a tremendous lift. For North Carolina to win this game, they've got to stop shooting so many jump shots, get it inside, and drive the basketball.
All right, we'll hear more from them at the half.
All right, Holly, guys, thank you. Armando Bacot back on the bench with a couple of fouls. So Garrison Brooks is the inside guy exclusively right now. Delorier's on him. Can the Heels get it to him?
Well, right now, Duke's been doing a good job not only of pressuring, but loading up help. So it's very difficult to get the ball inside because you're throwing it into a crowd.
Seven-point lead for Duke. 3:25 to go in the first half. Duke winning the first matchup in overtime in Chapel Hill. 98-96 about a month ago. Jordan Goldwire, long rebound out to Jones. Stanley into the chest of Brooks. And over the back for the foul. Roy Williams talking to us before the game about the jacket he is wearing tonight. Here's what Roy Williams does. After a game, he puts the stat sheet from a previous game in the pocket of the jacket as he hangs the jacket up in his closet. If it wasn't a good game, if they lost, that jacket is out of the rotation. And he said, kind of tongue-in-cheek, but not really, a lot of jackets are out of the rotation this year. They're 13 and 17, so he went to a jacket, Jay, that is undefeated on the year. Then again, it's also the first time he says he's worn this jacket, so it's 0-0. But he's going deeper into the closet this year, given the losses they've sustained.
Yeah, he's not superstitious, but why risk it?
Right. Blocked by Jones, followed by Brooks, and a friendly bounce for the Heels to get him back within 5.
Boy, a terrific block by Javin Delorier on the initial action. But how about Garrison Brooks? Second and third effort. He's just had a spectacular year.
Jones all the way in a foul call. If it's Brooks, it'll be his second, and it is number 2 on Garrison Brooks.
Well, they weren't going to call that if the shot had gone in, but since it was missed, they felt they needed to call it.
We mentioned the tough losses sustained by North Carolina, not only in the Duke game. They had a crusher against Virginia. They had a late 3 to beat them up in South Bend. Double overtime at Virginia Tech. But as Roy Williams will tell you quite openly, the other teams made better plays at the end of games than his team made. There were so many of these games, Shea, where they needed one stop to win the game, and they couldn't get that stop.
And that can be a self-fulfilling prophecy, too, that after a while you start looking for the next thing to go wrong. And I do think part of that was part of North Carolina's issue. But they fought through it. Now they've got some of their key players back healthy, and they are a much tougher out.
Yeah, whether they're the 14 or the 11 in the ACC tournament, which will be determined by the outcome tonight, they're not your typical 14 or 11. And again, to make the NCAA tournament, obviously they're going to have to win the ACC tournament given the kind of season they've had. How about Walker Miller getting minutes because Brooks and Bacot both have 2 fouls, and Miller knocks one down.
Well, he played in the game in Chapel Hill and gave some quality minutes to North Carolina. But how about the job that Cassius Stanley did defensively on that last possession on Cole Anthony? Cole Anthony just at the last second found an open Miller.
Stanley, Robinson down, called for the foul and shaken up as well.
I wonder if the officials are going to have to look at this. Hopefully not, because that looked like it was just straight basketball.
Boy, and the senior has had a tough year. Multiple ankle injuries, a neck problem sustained in a car accident, a rib issue, and it looked like the left arm, maybe the outside of the elbow, as Stanley went into his move, that caught Robinson right there.
You know, maybe that is going to be a flagrant one, or at least close to it. The key were his arms more up than out? And I don't think that's going to be an issue of in the cylinder or anything like that, because Robinson technically, I guess did come into him a little bit, and that was the foul was on Robinson, but doesn't look like it's going to be anything more than a basketball play. We hate to see Brandon Robinson down, because you know that game that he had earlier at NC State, he kept coming back in and coming back in and would not give up. I mean, that was just a stud performance that he put on.
He's a senior and gets a nice ovation here from the folks at Duke as he walks off the court under his own power, and hopefully nothing serious. And it looks like they're going to take him right into the locker room with 1:41 to go in the half and have a closer look at him. So here's where some of the combinations get a little bit unusual for Roy Williams. Brooks and Bacot each have a couple of fouls, and Robinson just went to the locker room. So it's Pierce, Miller, Keeling, Platek, and Anthony in the game right now for Carolina.
Well, the unusual lineup has been usual for North Carolina this year.
Tonight in our NBA Saturday primetime game, we've got the Warriors hosting the 76ers. Our coverage tips with a jump at 8 o'clock Eastern on ABC and also on the ESPN app.
And now you can watch the Warriors with Steph Curry back.
Miller shuffled the feet.
Yeah, tough spot to have to dump the ball off to Walker Miller. That should not have been his turnover. He'll get it, but that was really the decision of Cole Anthony that led to that.
And with the foul trouble in the Robinson situation, feels like a minute and a half where if you're Carolina, you just kind of want to tread water and not let this one get any further, not let the lead get any bigger for Duke going into halftime. Carey, haven't seen a lot of him doing that tonight. He's so efficient down there, and eventually he's fouled.
Well, it's been difficult for Vernon Carey to establish any kind of rhythm in this game. When he's been in there, he's been double and at times triple teamed.
Carey's had an outstanding freshman season. He'll be in the conversation for ACC Player of the Year. But as you said before, Trey Jones, you know, sometimes teammates split the vote a little bit too, but Trey Jones just might nose him out for the award. Jordan Nwora is going to get a lot of consideration. Pretty impressive numbers for Vernon Carey Jr.
Well, he's in the top 10 in the Atlantic Coast Conference in scoring, rebounding, block shots, and field goal percentage. He is the only ACC player to be in the top 10 in those 4 categories.
Pierce with a full head of steam. Can't bank it home, and Carey comes up with it, but then turns it over.
Well, this last minute 5 of the first half is important. If North Carolina can get a bucket and a stop, or a couple buckets and a stop, this game looks a lot different going into the second half. Conversely, if Duke can get a stop and a bucket, they can put some distance between a double-digit lead between themselves and North Carolina.
Anthony around Jones into the chest of Carey and called for the offensive foul.
Duke has made Cole Anthony into a one-on-one player, and he just went 1-on-5. And you applaud the courage that he takes the ball to the basket. Vernon Carey right there, because the defense was not made to move at all. They basically looked like a zone, even though it was man-to-man. It was 1-on-5, and that's what led to the turnover and the offensive foul.
And now with Anthony picking up his second foul, Jeremiah Francis, who has missed a good chunk of the year with injuries, he has come in just to play this last minute of the half. Jones, no. Follow, no. Yes. On the third opportunity, Wendell Moore, and it's the biggest lead of the night for the Blue Devils.
And to the point just made before, if Duke gets a stop here and another score, that's some serious distance going into halftime.
And Jones wants that one back as he's called for the foul.
Wendell Moore had a fantastic game in the first game. 17 points, 10 rebounds, and the game-winning basket off an offensive board. And the effort there with the right hand, excuse me, the left hand to keep it alive, and then the right hand to tip it in. Talk about second effort. That was impressive by Wendell Moore,
who of course had the tip and then the game-winning bucket in the first game in Chapel Hill. About a 6-second difference between the game clock and the shot clock.
You have to expect that Keeling wants to get the shot here.
It'll be Francis. And how about that? Toe on the line, but a long two for a guy who's hardly played in recent weeks. Jones. And it'll be an 8-point lead for Duke going to halftime here at Cameron. Duke won the first one in overtime in Chapel Hill, up by 8, 20 minutes in here in Durham. After this timeout, the Jeep halftime report, Reese Davis, Seth Greenberg, and LaFonso Ellis. Back to Saturday primetime, presented by H&R Block. This is an ESPN Sonic Blockbuster. Round 2 between Carolina and Duke. And an 8-point lead for the Blue Devils at the half. Trey Jones, who led them to victory in Chapel Hill a month ago, leads all scorers in this game tonight. He's got a dozen, also 4 assists, and has not turned the ball over tonight for the ACC Player of the Year contender. Garrison Brooks, 10 points, 5 rebounds. Armando Bacot, 8 points, 7 rebounds. But it is still Duke with an 8-point lead heading to the second half. Welcome to the cozy confines here in the Crow's Nest at Cameron Indoor Stadium. Dan Shulman and Jay Billis. Both teams love to run. One team's doing it a lot better than the other one so far tonight.
Yeah, Duke was doing it not just off its defense, but off made field goals. Duke is leading 15-0 in fast break points against North Carolina. They've done it with defense by getting advantage situations, playing ahead of the North Carolina defense. Then they've done it off made field goals, of getting the ball out quickly and sprinting the floor, not just running it, but sprinting it. And on the other end, North Carolina is settling for jump shots. They are not getting to the rim, and as a result, not getting to the free throw line. Duke has 14 free throw attempts, North Carolina only 4.
Moments ago, Holly Rowe had a chance to speak with Roy Williams.
Coach Williams, what do you have to do to get Cole Anthony going to score points in that first half?
Well, we need to get the ball inside better. Everybody's settling for either a jump shot or their own drive instead of working to get the ball inside. The other thing, 15-0 on fast breaks, Holly. We've never played like that, but that means they're either great players and we're sorry, or they're just hustling more and we're the soft team right now, so we got to get better there.
All right, Brandon Robinson, how is he?
I don't think we'll have him back, but I'm not sure.
Thanks, Coach.
Holly, thank you. Ready for the start of the second half of our Sonic Blockbuster here at Cameron Indoor Stadium. And in the moments after Holly conducted that interview, we did receive official word from Steve Kirshner, the sports information director for North Carolina, that Brandon Robinson will not return tonight. That's why you see Christian Keeling in the game as he knocks down the jumper.
Well, Keeling knocks down the jumper. That's really the first easy basket that North Carolina's had in a while. And it looks like Trey Jones going to pick up an offensive foul. Keeling there to take the charge.
Second foul on Jones.
I'm telling you, it's amazing in college basketball now. All you got to do is fall down.
Heels down by 6, trying to extend their winning streak to 4. Anthony No, offensive rebound. Brooks blocked by Robinson.
Robinson with his length and perfectly timed.
How about Duke running again?
Give Vernon Perry credit. He has run the floor hard and changed ends from defense to offense. And usually it's the North Carolina big guys that are outrunning their counterparts. This time it's been Duke that's doing it to North Carolina.
Ricky Black made his first shot tonight, then couldn't find the range again. There's Robinson with a hard foul on Bacot.
Well, Duke in transition. Justin Robinson with the block, and you saw how Vernon Carey, his first 3 steps, just outran everybody. Now watch after this block. Vernon Carey goes after the ball, and then he takes 3 quick steps and outran Leaky Black, Armando Bacot, everybody. Does a great job running the floor.
And assist number 5 on the play for Tre Jones. Robinson the foul. Bacot at the line. When you would shoot free throws in a hostile building looking into that kind of a scene, do you see it, or can you completely block out the students behind the basket?
Well, you try to block it out, but you can see it. Heck, I played in a game one time. The San Diego Chicken was there, and he would stand under the basket and open up like a poster of a lady in a bikini or something when you're trying to shoot. And, like, you have to admit, you laughed at that a couple times. Hope that Coach K didn't catch you.
Did you knock down the free throws?
Of course I did.
Of course you did. Carey, no. Bacot, another rebound. Boy, Bacot plays with great energy at both ends.
Yeah, he's going to be a great player. And he's had an outstanding freshman year. And Jordan Goldwire really making it difficult for Cole Anthony just to get the ball back.
Brooks inside, Bacot, and another foul. Let's see who this one is on. It'll be on Carey.
You know, Duke's up by 7 points, but it's primarily because of their defense. Obviously, we pointed out how they've run the floor and gotten things in transition. But North Carolina, the first half, only had 3 assists. And that means they were having to create on their own. They're not getting it off their offense. They didn't get anything in transition.
Such a unique environment, and Jay, such a unique vantage point for us here at Cameron Indoor Stadium. Up here in the Crow's Nest, this is our view. Ball guy number 1, ball guy number 2, a clean view. This is how we see it.
You know, our director, Doug Holmes, is a baldist.
He is.
End baldism.
He's a hair bully is what he is. He just loves the bald shot. But this is, I don't know of any, do you work in any other building where we have this kind of a view?
No, there's a walk there.
Yeah, on Carey.
Boy, Duke did a really nice job. They got a little horn set and really spread the floor nicely. The middle was wide open for Vernon Carey to just roll to the basket. If he'd gone up right away, that would have been an easy layup or dunk.
Carolina hanging around, down by 7. Had some foul trouble at the end of the first half. Had to really improvise in who was on the floor. And now we find out without Brandon Robinson the rest of the way. Nice look. Brooks. And a foul.
But Cole Anthony is having to work so hard just to get the ball back once he gives it up. And whether it's Jordan Goldwire or Tre Jones guarding him, they've done a really nice job of staying with him and limiting his ability to get the ball back because he's such a dangerous offensive player.
Number 2 on Vernon Carey. Brooks at the line. Tomorrow, our NBA Sunday showcase on ABC is a beauty. It'll be the Lakers and the Clippers, with our coverage tipping with NBA Countdown at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. Lakers have already clinched a postseason berth.
Have there ever been a conference finals where the two teams didn't have to travel?
Where they shared a building? I wouldn't think so. Not to my knowledge. And what a matchup it would be tomorrow, obviously, and if they were to meet in a playoff series, these two guys would see a lot of one another, LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard. Goldwire, strong drive, no finish, and Brooks down with a rebound. Carolina running. Brooks. Cole Anthony, the floater is short. Another offensive rebound. And Bacot and Brooks are really getting work done inside right now here in the second half.
They're just playing volleyball up off the backboard, and North Carolina brings it back to a one-possession game. Mike Krzyzewski wants to talk it over, but first he's going to tell the official there was a walk on the other end.
3-point game here at Cameron. Gotcha, Ariel, my man. A friendly Canadian, although as you said before the game.
All Canadians are friendly.
So it's redundant.
They're verbose, but they're friendly.
Careful what you wish for. Carolina back in this game, down by 3. And now they turn it over, trying to get the ball inside to Brooks.
A lot of contact, but throwing it into traffic was what led to that turnover. But North Carolina hanging some fouls on Duke in the second half because they've been more resolute to get it into the paint.
Moore the drive, kick to Robinson. Around and out of the rebound to Leaky Black. Again, Carolina, if you haven't seen a lot of them lately, they're playing their best basketball of the season right now. They've won 3 in a row, averaging 90 points per game over those 3, and they're back within 1 here at Cameron.
North Carolina is being resolute to get the ball into the post and to play through Garrison Brooks. That has led them to this 1-point game.
As Roy Williams said a couple of days ago, it's almost like they get a restart at the ACC tournament. They are still playing for something. They know they have to win it to go to the dance. And how about somebody who's living life right? On senior night, Justin Robinson has banked in a 3 and then gotten a great bounce on that one.
Is that double figures for him for the 2nd straight game?
It is. He has become a factor for Duke here late in the season.
Allison Williams, after the NC State game on Big Monday, asked him, have you ever been in the post-game interview? And he said, nope. First time. He may be in another one.
Mike Krzyzewski called him a late bloomer. As Holly reported in the first half, said he's as good a friend to his teammates as any player he's ever had. And there's Cassius Stanley with a corner jumper.
Well, he needs to get going. He had 22 points in the last meeting between these two teams. And if Duke is going to advance as deep as they like in the NCAA tournament, Cassius Stanley is going to have to be a big part of it.
Boy, it looked like it should have been a walk there on Anthony, but no. And they wind up with a bucket on an off-balance shot by Garrison Brooks.
Really unusual, but the referees probably are going to tell Mike Krzyzewski he's allowed to pick the ball up. But that looked like a walk.
Stanley with a penetration and Bacot the foul.
Well, Justin Robinson off of a 10-point performance against NC State on Monday with the corner 3, gets it to go in, and the Admiral likes it.
ESPN's exclusive. Greg Anthony, very accomplished basketball player himself. Cole's dad here cheering on his son at Cameron. As we mentioned, so many Duke alumni in the house, including Carlos Boozer, a member of the 2001 national championship team. Shane Battier is here as well, also an NCAA champion. It's a 6-point lead right now for the Blue Devils, and we've got a little breaking news. Here's Holly.
Well, the North Carolina folks have come over and let me know that they reevaluated Brandon Robinson, and he's able to re-enter this game. He's in right now, guys. It's a big lift because he averages 12 points a game and can help space the floor as an extra shooter for North Carolina down the stretch.
Yeah, initially we were told not going to return, and here he is back on the court. We'll see if that gives the Heels a spark.
Well, he's also one of North Carolina's best defenders. He can switch off on just about anyone 1 through 4.
Bacot. Double team comes from Wendell Moore. 5 to shoot. Deep one for Robinson. Another rebound for Bacot.
He just pursues the ball and always seems to go after it with both hands. And that was a huge bucket by Armando Bacot.
And how about 11 points and 10 rebounds for the freshman Armando Bacot, his 10th double-double on the season. Carey going to work inside, and he's fouled.
If that's on Bacot, that's his 4th foul.
And that's a problem for Carolina. What? No, it was on Robinson. They've given it to Robinson.
Boy, terrific job by Bacot of really blocking out as the offensive rebounder, blocking out Justin Robinson, getting inside position. He really worked hard to go after that. That's a pretty good company Armando Bacot's in.
Wow.
For double-doubles. Antoine Jamison with 13 and 96. Sam Perkins in 81 with 9. And Perkins that year was the ACC tournament MVP as a freshman. I'm not sure any Carolina big guy had longer arms than Sam Perkins.
You speak from experience playing against him. Bacot again, Jay.
He is just dominating the offensive glass, and Mike Krzyzewski going to counter with Javin Delorier, a more experienced player and a better athlete.
There he slips the screen. Jones finds him. And a foul on Bacot, and he is beside himself. That is number 4.
Let's take a look at Vernon Carey, top of the three-point line here. He is going to come set a screen, just slip it right to the basket, and Garrison Brooks has to pick him up, but he also has to recover to Justin Robinson, who's spacing at the three-point line. Left a little bit too early, and Bacot, trying to get back to Vernon Carey, wound up fouling him from behind. The call came late, and I don't think it would have been called if Vernon Carey had made this bucket. But when he missed it, I mean, it was way late, the call, but we've seen that a couple times in this game.
And a big loss for the Tar Heels, with Bacot going to the bench with 12.5 minutes to go in this game. Justin Pierce is in. Carey will sit down as Jordan Goldwire comes in.
And obviously that's a huge difference. Now, they're not two big guys for North Carolina, so you can give more attention on Garrison Brooks defensively.
Offensive glass has been a huge part of the reason why Carolina's been able to hang around. They go inside to Brooks, and he draws the foul.
Just a little diagonal up screen to get Garrison Brooks isolated on the right block and get the defender on the high side. He did a great job of sealing off and opening up that space to be able to get the pass to lead him into his move on the right side of the basket.
So Brooks at the line. As we mentioned, 27 points per game in his last 3 coming into this one.
And he's been great in ACC games. I mean, he's second in the league in scoring in ACC play at over 18 a game. And just under 9 rebounds, 55% from the field. He has been an absolute workhorse. And I'll tell you, Dan, that free throw line has got to be a big difference if North Carolina wants to win in this building. They've got to get to the free throw line. Duke got there in the first half, and North Carolina didn't.
Yeah, Carolina got there in game 1, but they missed so many. They were 21 of 38 from the free throw line in the first game. Offensive foul, Wendell Moore Jr. And a timeout on the floor as we go under 12. Carolina, Duke, no surprise regardless of the standings, the records. It's a close game. It's an exciting game. The Heels trying to pull off the upset. Duke hanging on to the lead right now. So off the bubble and in for the Aggies as they knock off San Diego State. Does that knock San Diego State off the 1 line?
Well, I think it actually helps San Diego State. Obviously it helps Utah State because they're in the tournament now. But I actually think that's helpful to San Diego State because now they can be the 2 seed in the West with Gonzaga being the 1 seed rather than being the 1 seed maybe in the East. I think that actually helps the Aztecs overall in their chances of making a Final Four.
Tip in by Justin Pierce. Carolina continuing to excel on the offensive glass. Does that move maybe Dayton up to the 1 line?
It very well could. Obviously Dayton has to continue to win. The Atlantic 10 tournament starting this week as well. Boy, Justin Pierce, I think that's his 51st offensive rebound. He's an excellent offensive rebounder.
Robinson, Goldwire stays in front of him. Carolina can tie or take the lead. They won't go for Brooks, but it's another foul on Javin DeLaurier. And more free throws coming for Carolina. That's number 4 on DeLaurier.
Carolina has played better defense in this second half. They haven't really gotten their transition game going, but at least they were able to put some more pressure on Duke's transition defense by getting down the floor just a little bit quicker, and they are getting the ball into the paint via the pass.
Sports Center tonight after Washington and Arizona with John Anderson and Kenny Mayne. They will take a closer look at Trae Young and the Hawks taking on Ja Morant and the Grizzlies. A wrap-up of this big battle between Carolina and Duke and post-fight coverage of UFC 248.
Again, one of the reasons that you don't want to settle for jump shots, not that you don't take an open shot after getting a paint touch, but that you don't want to settle, is because you don't give yourself the opportunity to get fouled. That's why you have to attack the paint, have to attack the rim, because you can get to the free throw line, the most efficient place to score on a basketball court.
Carey back in for Duke, hurt as well. Shot clock's at 3. Carey muscles it in, follows it up.
Carey knew that he missed it. And when you're taking the shot inside and you know you missed it, you have the inside track to getting the offensive rebound.
Anthony, a tough one. Jones got a piece of it.
It's almost like Cole Anthony a little bit frustrated because whether it's been Goldwire or Jones, he cannot get the ball back once he gives it up. He got it off that little curl and took a shot that Roy Williams would rather he didn't take.
Anthony just 2 for 10, 4 points tonight. Carey for 3. Long rebound out to Jones. Right back into Carey for the finish.
Boy, just a great cut after the initial shot and long rebound. A terrific cut by Vernon Carey.
Black to a wide open Robinson. And a big 3 for the Heels.
Boy, what an answer. And how tough is Brandon Robinson? I mean, it's game after game he's been battling injury, whether it's the ankle or at NC State, the ribs. Takes one in the chops, looks like he'll be out for the game, yet he comes back. He keeps coming.
Carey again, and another assist for Jones.
Carey is becoming a dominant force in this second half. Duke is moving him around from outside in. What a back screen by Brandon Robinson. Just not good communication. When you're guarding Robinson, you've got to be prepared to take the cutter, Garrison Brooks. And you have to have more pressure on the ball to take away vision of the passer.
And Jay Brooks now with 23 points on the night. And a foul on Anthony.
Well, Vernon Carey, Mike Krzyzewski moving Carey around on the floor. He's not just on the low block, going one-on-one and spinning back into the lane. Knew he missed it after knocking Brooks back. And zero pressure from Cole Anthony on Tre Jones, just able to pick him apart and getting the ball inside. Then off the horn set, the little screen roll to the basket, and a terrific pass again by Tre Jones. This game, Dan, has had the feel like Duke should be up 10.
Yes.
And North Carolina is scrapping and fighting and staying within one possession.
And they are not looking for a moral victory here tonight with all the heartbreaking defeats they have suffered this season. Again, they're going into the ACC tournament as either an 11 seed or the 14. Georgia Tech ineligible, so Carolina would be last going into the tournament if they lose tonight. Brooks can't finish.
He was surprised he was that wide open, and North Carolina's got to put Vernon Carey into ball screen situations and make him guard. Carey just keeps running the floor and running the floor. Brooks could not catch up to him. Justin Pierce had to pick him up, and that's advantage Carey that far into the paint.
Robinson checking back in now for Duke. Brooks just took the goggles off. Ollie gave you the report a little bit earlier. He's been scratched in the eye 2-3 times this year, but he just got rid of him. Carolina has never led. The game's been tied on a couple of occasions.
I think you got to go back to Vernon Carey.
Stanley for 3.
If he consistently knocks down that shot, look out.
A guy who makes a lot of noise has had kind of a quiet 16 tonight, but Cassius Stanley is doing his part for Duke.
He's really the key.
Brooks just keeps on scoring. 25 now.
He has just been spectacular. Now it's his last 4 games. His numbers are off the charts.
Carey inside with a chance for 3.
Duke is putting Vernon Carey in ball screen situations where he is the screen. This time just a simple slip to the bucket. Out of the horn set, hit the other big guy, and he just slipped to the basket, had an angle and scored, got fouled. Vernon Carey has been dominant. Vernon Carey, the freshman lefty, has 14 double-doubles on the season, 9 games of 20 points and 10 rebounds or more in either category. And he has been dominant in this game. He's got 20 points, 8 rebounds. And Duke has been moving him all over the floor, whether it's in ball screen situations putting him up high so then he can cut down into the low post where he's not just stuck on the block, where he's easy to double team. And he has taken advantage of it. He has been a load for North Carolina to handle.
Let's get more with Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, if you think about Vernon Carey is really making amends for the last game against North Carolina. In the second half last game, he didn't score at all, fouled out with over 4 minutes to play. Much different second half impact for the freshman.
Yeah, he had 18 in the first half. He did a great job in the first half in that game at North Carolina. But part of the issue is North Carolina doesn't have both its big guys on the floor. So Vernon Carey can attack without Armando Bacot out there with Garrison Brooks. It's strictly one-on-one, big guy to big guy. Everybody else is spread out.
Cole Anthony with just his 3rd field goal of the night, and that's one question is, when does Roy Williams bring Bacot back in? He's been on the bench for several minutes with 4 fouls. And we have our answer as he just got up off the bench to head to the scores table. Jones for 3. Boy, coming back to school another year, working on that jumper. His 3-point percentage is 10% higher this year than it was last year as a freshman.
Not sure how many point guards this year have combined the offensive capabilities and the defensive prowess of Tre Jones. He plays both ends of the floor at a really high level, and not everybody does that.
7-point lead, Duke. Tipped by Anthony. Robinson recovers.
Here comes the ball screen from Vernon Carey. He was open. He had Robinson on him. Now Garrison's recovered.
And Brooks recovers again. Helps out on Moore, and Moore turns it over. 3-on-2 Carolina. And a foul on Robinson. Back down to Holly.
Armando Bacot is checking back in the game right now, guys. He's been out for an extended period, in part due to foul trouble, but in part because they were retaping that right ankle of his that has been an issue. He didn't play in their last game. He's limping a little bit now as he tries to get that tape just right, but they're trying to get him back in now because they did not have an answer for Vernon Carey Jr.
So that's the thing about the Carolina injuries, not just the guys who missed games, and so many have. Bacot has played a number of games, limited minutes because of injuries. Robinson, as you documented, Jay, played games with injuries. Leaky Black played with a sore foot earlier in the year. It's been very rare where Roy Williams has had anywhere close to his full complement of players.
And that's been a tremendous difficulty. And I don't think this would have been a vintage North Carolina team, but I think, as we said very early in the year, North Carolina was far better than they were playing it. And I think now, especially over the last 5 games or so, the last 3, without question, you're seeing that North Carolina had a lot more in them than they showed earlier in the year.
Anthony missed 11 games. Robinson missed 9, and on it goes. Now, you got to believe, had they had reasonable health, they might be on the right side of the bubble. So many heartbreaking 1-point, 2-point overtime losses. Robinson into Carey for 2 more.
They're spreading the floor, and Vernon Carey has the middle all to himself.
Very difficult shot by Anthony. He wanted a foul call, didn't get it.
Well, with Robinson and Carey up top, Robinson can play the high-low because he can make that 3-point shot. You have to respect it, and that's going to be one-on-one in the post for Vernon Carey.
Anthony probing, finds Bacot, finds Brooks. Brooks got it back. And eventually Robinson. Boy, they are getting after it on both sides on the glass. And Justin Robinson is having himself quite a senior night, isn't he?
Well, he's played so strong at both ends of the floor.
Good D by Robinson, denying Stanley the chance to come and take a pass. Robinson for 3. How about that? And his Hall of Fame dad loves it as much as anybody here at Cameron.
That's North Carolina settling. They needed a score there. And that gives Duke with about 4 minutes to go in regulation, a 10-point lead, and the ball to increase this lead. That's a poor offensive possession for North Carolina.
Robinson with 13 points, 5 rebounds, 3 blocks tonight. And now Stanley buries a 3 from the corner. And the lead just keeps on growing right now for Duke. It's their largest lead of the night. Aerial coverage is brought to you by State Farm. Talk to a State Farm agent today.
Well, Justin Robinson, the senior and a captain that has not played a ton of minutes throughout the course of the season, but has been a big factor for Duke in the last 3 ball games. He has 13 points in this game. He's played both ends of the floor. He's knocked down 4 3-point field goals, blocked a shot. He has been a floor spacer that's given Vernon Carey some space to work inside, where Carey has been a dominant force. And his father, David Robinson, who took Navy to the Elite 8 and is in the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, is watching his son move one step closer to his second straight post-game interview.
22 minutes tonight for Robinson, and he's earned every single one of them, as has been the case in recent games for him, becoming a big part of the Duke rotation late in the season.
Well, if North Carolina is going to get back in this, they can't have empty possessions on the offensive end.
Robinson with a 3. Down to 10, timeout Roy Williams.
Boy, another gutsy performance from Brandon Robinson. A lot of respect for him as a player. Robinson just coming off the stagger, and Cassius Stanley going underneath. He was right there on the catch, but got backed up just a bit, and Robinson stepping back and knocking down the 3. And now North Carolina, after calling the timeout, is going to have to come out and trap to try to make something happen.
The ACC tournament begins in Greensboro on Tuesday. A look at some of the ACC storylines. How about Clemson? Some big wins for the Tigers this year. Took down Duke, Louisville, and Florida State this season. Virginia has won 8 straight going into the tournament to beat Louisville today. So Virginia's the 2 seed, Louisville's the 3 seed. Florida State, the regular season champions. Congratulations to Leonard Hamilton and company. They will go in as the 1 seed. Duke is locked into the 4 seed regardless of the outcome of this game.
North Carolina came out with a little 1-2-1-1 full court press. They couldn't get a trap because Jordan Goldwire did such a great job of catching the ball and then breaking the pressure.
And a foul call against Garrison Brooks.
Roy Williams not happy with the call. He thought that Vernon Carey might have pushed off a little bit as Garrison Brooks was trying to deny him that position on that angled cut. There's been a ton of contact in this game at both ends of the floor. Mike Eves trying to explain to Garrison Brooks why they called the foul.
Nice ovation for Robinson as he sits down. Moore back in. And Carey at the free throw line again. Already 7 for 9 tonight.
Carey worked so hard to get open, and he's so productive. I mean, that's his 24th point.
This is 2 huddles ago. Roy Williams. Think he's given up on the season? Think this doesn't matter to him?
He doesn't want to put that coat out of the rotation.
That's a nice coat. And again, a loss tonight. They'll go in as the 14 seed in the ACC tournament, but I don't know how many teams want anything to do with the Heels, who, even if they lose this one, are clearly a dangerous team. And they'll have to win out. They'll have to get the automatic bid to go to the dance. They know that.
Boy, that's the kind of night it's been around the basket for North Carolina. Bacot with a 1-foot shot, missed it. Garrison Brooks with what he would consider to be an easy stick back, couldn't get it to go down. Now here's the scramble for North Carolina, looking to trap at every opportunity.
And back to the free throw line again for the Blue Devils. Barring a whale of a finish for Carolina, this will be the first losing season in the incredible 32-year career as a head coach for Roy Williams. Has never had a losing season either at Kansas or Carolina.
Just remarkable.
As we mentioned, above 500 in each of the previous 31 seasons, 20 or more wins, 15 in a row. 9 straight appearances in the NCAA tournament, but they'll have to do something remarkable in Greensboro if that streak is going to continue. Anthony with a crossover takes a bump, and he'll head to the line.
Jordan Goldwire in this ballgame may not have scored a lot of points, but he's really done a good job defensively. And Duke is in a position in the last 2:23 of regulation with a 14-point lead here, perhaps to win this game. But they've done it with their defense as much as anything. And it's really been a solid defensive effort by Duke.
As you look at the top 4, Jay, heading into Greensboro, Florida State, Virginia, Louisville, Duke seeded that way. Is it anybody's tournament?
Yes, you can make a case for any of the top 4. And I think anybody outside the top 4 is going to have to do something extraordinary in order to take home the ACC tournament championship. I think it'll be difficult, even as well as Virginia has played. You get into postseason play and you have so many one-possession games. You have to think that maybe you get clipped in a game postseason, but because they control tempo so well, Kihei Clark has controlled the game. And Kihei Clark's averaging 6 assists a game in incredible low possession games. And his assist rate has to be number 1.
And it seems like no team is more comfortable playing in those one-possession games late than Virginia, because every single game of theirs seems to be like.
Yeah, they're just rhythm disruptors, and that's what they do. So it's incumbent upon the other team. You're not going to speed them up. You better learn to play at their tempo and have patience. Oh, that was a foul. That's crazy. There's been so much contact throughout this game.
And with the shot clock down to 6, eventually there is a foul, and that'll put Duke back on the line.
Trey Jones, a solid free throw shooter at 75%.
Single-handedly brought Duke back from what looked like a sure defeat in the first game in Chapel Hill. As Carey goes out, Robinson comes back in. Jones at one point scored 15 consecutive Duke points, bridging the end of regulation and into overtime.
And oddly enough, when Vernon Carey got in foul trouble and fouled out of the game in the second half, that's when Duke was able to make that run, because they had a lineup in that could really spread the floor, then they could drive the ball. And they put a ton of pressure with North Carolina playing 2 big guys to draw them away from the basket, and that allowed them to get so many drives.
Terrific drive and kick there by Anthony, the bucket for Leaky Black, but it's still an 11-point game. It was closer for most of the night. Duke hit a bunch of threes a few minutes ago. They are 10 for 20 from three-point range tonight. One of the big reasons why they enjoy an 11-point lead.
Jordan Goldwire going to the line. He's a 61, 62% free throw shooter. So Christian Keeling doing a good job of picking the right guy to foul, at least percentage-wise, on the floor.
Double bonus, 2 shots. Bacot worked awfully hard tonight. Played through some ankle discomfort. And the Heels just hope that he's ready to go on Tuesday. Again, as one of the bottom 4 seeds in the ACC tournament. Another game's coming up quick for the Tar Heels.
North Carolina's got to get the ball to the rim. They can't mess around here.
Brooks fouled by Robinson.
And the last thing that Duke wants to do in this situation is foul. Stop the clock And then North Carolina can score with no time going off the clock and then set up a press.
And 1 of 2 for Brooks. Still down by 11 with just over a minute to go.
North Carolina looking to go for a steal, get an initial trap, but then they're going to have to foul.
And Jones is fouled as he crosses into the front court. Let's go down to Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, as you said, Tre Jones took over that last win at North Carolina, and he said that he wanted to be like his big brother Tyus. I was actually talking with Tyus last week, and he said he was in his hotel room in Washington getting ready to play for the Memphis Grizzlies when he saw his little brother with the late game heroics against North Carolina. He said, I was screaming, jumping on the bed. It's just incredible that Tyus Jones hit a tying shot to force it to overtime in 2015. Little brother Tre did the exact same thing. He thought it was pretty dang cool.
It absolutely was. And do you think we'll ever see that kind of a sequence again? An intentionally missed free throw. He gets it back, has it knocked away, gets the ball back, and then hits a jumper to force overtime. And remember, Carolina went up by 5 in overtime, only for Duke to come back again and win it. And it looks like they're going to win this one as well.
Duke just went to a 2-3 zone to try to limit penetration, make North Carolina try to knock down a shot. Roy Williams telling his team no fouls.
So senior night will wind up with a victory for the Duke Blue Devils. They will sweep the regular season series from Carolina. And they will go into the ACC tournament as the 4 seed. Robinson, another block, his 4th on the night. Jack White, Jabba DeLaurier, and Justin Robinson all will address the crowd after the game in the final game of their careers here at Cameron Indoor Stadium. And that'll do it. Carolina fights hard, but too much from Duke. A 13-point win. And their 25th victory on the season as they beat Carolina for the 2nd time this season.
And Duke got it done with defense, and that defense started their break in the first half, 15-0 in fast break points, and in the second half it was Tre Jones and Vernon Carey.
A look at the bracket starting Tuesday in Greensboro. The Tuesday games on ACC Network, then ESPN and ESPN2 take over after that. Duke, the 4 seed, heading into Greensboro. A big night for the Blue Devils. They get balanced scoring from a number of players. Carey with 25, Jones with 21, Stanley with 19 as they beat Carolina 89-76 and head into the ACC tournament on a winning note. For Jay Billis, Holly Rowe, and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Dan Schulman saying thanks for watching. Now let's send you out to the T-Mobile Center in Las Vegas.